Have you ever noticed a pattern in your life? A recurring theme that keeps popping up like a persistent notification? Maybe it's been there for years, subtly influencing your choices, or perhaps you're only now beginning to see it. But once you do, once you truly recognize it, you simply can't ignore it anymore. You find yourself repeatedly drawn into relationships that really push you, really challenge you. Not the easy, breezy connections that seem to come so naturally to others. Not those partnerships that glide along smoothly, without a single bump in the road. No, you are drawn to complexity, to depth, to people who carry their own emotional baggage, their own inner demons, their own unresolved heartaches. And you've probably asked yourself, why? What is wrong with me? Am I fundamentally flawed, doomed to repeat these painful cycles until I finally give up on love altogether? But what if I told you that there's nothing wrong with you? What if this pattern isn't a defect, but a design? What if those high-conflict relationships you keep choosing aren't random accidents or colossal mistakes, but the exact curriculum your soul signed up for? Eckhart Tolle, the renowned spiritual teacher, understood something profound about relationships. He wisely said that relationships aren't there to make you happy, they are there to make you conscious. And for experienced souls, this truth resonates on a level that most people can't even fathom. Stick with me as we delve deeper into this, because understanding why you choose these challenging relationships might be the very key that unlocks your freedom. So, what exactly makes a soul old, dry, or rather experienced? Before we can understand why experienced souls choose challenging partners, we must first define what an experienced soul really is. This isn't just some flowery poetic phrase. It describes a very real phenomenon. An experienced soul is someone who entered this life carrying more than the average person. More awareness, more sensitivity, more accumulated wisdom, gleaned from lifetimes of experiences that simply can't be explained by this current lifetime alone. They are often the children who seemed wise beyond their years, the teenagers who felt alienated from their peers, the adults who sense that there must be more to life than the superficial reality that society presents. Experienced souls tend to be deep thinkers and feelers. They're drawn to meaning, to purpose, to the fundamental questions of existence. Small talk drains them. Superficial interactions leave them feeling empty and unfulfilled. They crave authenticity in a world that often rewards shallow performances. But here's what most people fail to grasp about experienced souls. Their depth comes at a significant cost, because they feel everything so intensely. They also suffer intensely, because they see beneath the surface. They can't simply ignore the pain that others so skillfully conceal from themselves. Because they carry ancient wisdom, they also carry ancient emotional scars. And these scars, these deeply ingrained patterns from lifetimes of experience, don't magically disappear just because you've been reborn into a new body. They follow you, they shape your choices, and they manifest most vividly, most dramatically, in your relationships. There's a pattern that's so incredibly common among experienced souls that it's become almost universal. It's the pattern of the compassionate caregiver, often referred to as the wounded healer. And understanding this pattern might just be the missing piece that unlocks your entire relationship history. Experienced souls are natural healers. They possess an innate ability to see the pain in others, to sense what's broken, to know what needs attention. People are drawn to them, often without even knowing why. There's something about the experienced soul's presence that creates a sense of safety, that invites vulnerability, that makes others feel truly seen. But here's the trap. Because experienced souls can so easily see the wounds in others, they are often unconsciously drawn to wounded people, not deliberately, not consciously. But something within them recognizes something within the other person, a familiar pain, a shared sense of brokenness, an unhealed wound that mirrors their own. And so, the experienced soul enters a relationship, not with a partner, but with a patient, not as an equal, but as a fixer-upper, a project. They believe, often subconsciously, that if they can just love this person enough, give enough, sacrifice enough, they can heal them, they can save them, they can fix what's broken. But here's the hard truth. It never works. You simply cannot heal someone who hasn't made the conscious choice to heal themselves. You can't save someone who isn't drowning in the way you think they are. You can't fix another person because they aren't broken in the way your perception tells you they are. And yet, the experienced soul keeps trying. Relationship after relationship. Each time choosing someone who needs help rather than someone who offers genuine partnership. Each time exhausting themselves in the giving while receiving very little in return. Each time wondering, why does love have to be so hard? The truth is brutal, but ultimately liberating. You've been playing the wrong role. You've been casting yourself as the healer, when what you really needed was to be healed yourself. Eckhart Tolle also introduced a concept that sheds light on so much about high-conflict relationships. He calls it the pain body. I like to think of it as an emotional backpack. Understanding this concept might completely transform the way you view your relationship patterns. The emotional backpack is an accumulation of OLD emotional pain. Every hurt you didn't fully process, every trauma you pushed aside, every grief you postponed feeling. All of this energy collects within your system, forming what Tolle describes as an entity that essentially lives within you. This emotional backpack isn't passive, it's hungry. It needs emotional pain to survive, much like your physical body needs food. And so, it actively seeks out situations, circumstances, and yes, relationships that will feed it. When two people come together in a relationship, their emotional backpacks recognize each other. There's an unconscious attraction, not to the other person's light, but to their darkness, not to their peace, but to their potential for conflict. The emotional backpack senses a feeding opportunity and irresistibly draws you toward it. This is why arguments in relationships can escalate so quickly and become so irrational. It's not really you fighting with your partner. It's your emotional backpack talking to their emotional backpack. Two ancient entities of accumulated suffering, feeding on each other, creating more pain to sustain themselves. Experienced souls often have particularly heavy emotional backpacks. All those lifetimes of experience, all that accumulated wisdom, also means accumulated suffering. The experienced soul's emotional backpack may be larger, more powerful, and more desperately craving a feeding than the average person's. This explains the attraction to challenging partners. Your emotional backpack isn't seeking peace and tranquility. It's actively looking for activation. It's not seeking someone who will leave it alone. It's seeking someone who will trigger it, engage it, keep it alive. The pattern finally starts to make sense. You haven't been choosing high-conflict relationships despite your wisdom. You've been choosing them because of the pain you carry alongside that wisdom. There's one more dimension to this pattern that we absolutely must address. Many experienced souls report feeling an instant, inexplicable connection with certain people, a profound sense of recognition, as if they've known each other for lifetimes. These are what some call soul contracts, a feeling that they've met this person before, even though they just met. These connections are often called soul contracts, and while the term might feel a little overused these days, it points to something very real. A soul contract is essentially unfinished business. Two souls that connected before, in another time, another place, maybe even another lifetime, and who didn't quite resolve things back then. Maybe there was betrayal, maybe there was abandonment, perhaps a love that was interrupted before it could fully bloom. These souls find their way back to each other. They recognize something familiar, even if it's only on a subconscious level, and they enter into a relationship, not just as two strangers, but as two souls carrying the weight of their shared history. This is why these soul contract relationships feel so intense right from the start, why they seem to skip the usual getting to know you phase, why they can feel like coming home, and walking straight into a storm, all at the same time. The purpose of a soul contract isn't necessarily happiness. It's about completion. It's about resolution. It's the chance to heal old wounds, to finish what was left undone, to learn what you missed the first time around. Now, this doesn't automatically mean that these relationships are destined for success by traditional standards. In fact, many of them end, and maybe they're meant to end. The real completion might be internal, a lesson learned, a pattern broken, a wound finally healed, even if the relationship itself doesn't last. Experienced souls attract these soul contracts because they have more karma, more history, more unfinished stories that are looking for an ending. This isn't a punishment, it's an opportunity. Every high-conflict relationship is a chance to close a chapter that's been open for too long. If this teaching is resonating with you and helping you understand your patterns, consider supporting this channel through Super Thanks. Your contribution allows us to keep bringing these life-changing insights to souls all over the world who are seeking understanding. Every bit of support helps us reach those who need these teachings the most. The mirror effect. Now, here's the really uncomfortable truth about why experienced souls sometimes choose these high-conflict relationships. The people who trigger you the most are actually showing you yourself. Your partner isn't the source of your pain. They're just the mirror, reflecting the pain you already carry within. Every single quality in them that drives you absolutely crazy exists, in some form, within you. Every wound they poke was already there, long before they showed up. They didn't create your suffering, they just revealed it. And this is why running from high-conflict relationships rarely works. You can leave one relationship and jump into another, but if you haven't done the internal work, that new partner is eventually going to trigger the same wounds. Different face, same lesson. Different person, same pattern. The relationships that challenge you the most and are showing you exactly where you need to grow. They're highlighting your blind spots, your shadows, your unhealed places. This isn't cruelty. This is opportunity knocking. Think about it like this. If you went to the gym and the weights were always light, you'd never build any real strength. It's the resistance that creates growth. In the same way, relational resistance, that friction of difficult partnerships, is what builds spiritual muscle. Experienced souls know this. They're not attracted to easy relationships because easy relationships don't offer them what they came here for. They came for growth. They came for evolution. They came to become more conscious, and consciousness is forged in the fire of difficulty. Now, this doesn't mean you should go out and seek abusive or toxic relationships. There's a big difference between a challenge and destruction. But it does mean that when you find yourself in a difficult partnership with a fundamentally good person, the difficulty itself might actually be the curriculum, from victim to student. There's a crucial shift that has to happen. If you want to transform your relationship patterns, it's a shift from seeing yourself as a victim of these high-conflict relationships to seeing yourself as a student of them. When you're in victim mode, everything is happening to you. Your partner is the problem. The relationship is unfair. You're being punished by fate, or the universe, or just plain bad luck. You feel powerless because you're at the mercy of forces beyond your control. But when you shift into student mode, everything changes. Suddenly, that difficult relationship becomes a classroom. Your partner becomes a teacher, even if they're completely unaware of it. The challenges become assignments, designed to help you grow. You're no longer powerless, because you are the one who decides what you're going to learn from each experience. This doesn't mean you should become passive or accept mistreatment. A good student isn't someone who tolerates abuse from a teacher, but a good student does approach difficulties with curiosity rather than resistance. They ask themselves, what is this trying to show me? What am I meant to learn here? How can I grow from this experience? Experienced souls often struggle with this shift because they've accumulated so much wisdom already. They feel like they should know better by now. They get frustrated that they keep finding themselves in the same patterns, despite everything they understand intellectually. But knowing and being are two very different things. You can know something in your mind, while your emotional backpack continues to operate unconsciously. The shift from victim to student requires humility. It means accepting that no matter how old your soul is, no matter how much you've learned in past lives, there's always more to discover. The difficult relationship isn't a sign of failure, it's a sign that your education continues. The imago and unconscious attraction. Psychology offers another fascinating insight into why experienced souls sometimes choose these high-conflict partners. It all relates to something called the imago. It's a term from relationship therapy that describes the unconscious image we carry of our ideal partner. Now, here's the slightly disturbing part. Your imago isn't formed from what's healthy for you. It's formed from what's familiar. Specifically, it's composed of the traits, both positive and negative, of your primary caregivers, the people who raised you, who loved you imperfectly, who wounded you, inevitably. Their qualities are encoded into your unconscious template for love. This means that you're instinctively attracted to people who feel familiar, people who in some ways recreate the emotional environment of your childhood. If your childhood involved a caregiver who was emotionally unavailable, you might find yourself inexplicably drawn to emotionally unavailable partners. If your early life included a caregiver who was unpredictable, you might feel most alive with partners who keep you guessing. For experienced souls, this pattern gets even more complex. Not only do you carry the imago, that blueprint from your current childhood, but you might also be carrying imprints from other lifetimes, other caregivers, other wounds, other patterns of love that were never fully resolved. It's like you're walking around with echoes of the past. This explains why those attractions can feel so deep and so irrational. It's not just this life drawing you toward a certain type of person. It's multiple lifetimes of conditioning, all converging in this moment, creating an almost gravitational pull toward partners who match your accumulated template. It's like your soul is saying, "Oh, I know this dance." Breaking this pattern requires consciousness. It requires seeing the imago clearly, understanding where it came from, and then making choices that are based on what is healthy, rather than what is merely familiar. This is difficult work. The pull of the familiar is strong. It's like trying to resist a favorite comfort food, but it is not impossible. You can reprogram your attractions. The purpose of relationship pain. Eckhart Tolle says something that may sound harsh at first, but contains profound wisdom. He says that when your relationship brings out the madness in you and your partner, be glad. Because what was unconscious is being brought to light. It's an opportunity for salvation. Think about that for a moment. Think about what this means. The pain in your relationships is not meaningless suffering. It's exposure. It's the unconscious being dragged into consciousness where it can finally be seen, addressed, and healed without high conflict relationships. Much of your shadow would remain hidden. You would go through life thinking you were peaceful, thinking you were evolved, thinking you had dealt with your wounds, and all the while, the emotional backpack would be lurking, waiting, gathering strength for the moment when life finally triggers it. High-conflict partners accelerate this process. They trigger what needs to be triggered. They surface what needs to be surfaced. They force you to confront aspects of yourself that you would prefer to ignore. It's like they're holding up a mirror to your soul. This is the gift hidden in the pain. Every argument that seemed pointless was actually revealing something important. Every conflict that felt destructive was actually dismantling something that needed to go. Every moment of madness was an opportunity for awakening. Experienced souls sense this at some level. They know that the easy path does not lead where they want to go. They know that comfort does not create consciousness. They choose high-conflict relationships because some part of them recognizes that these relationships offer the fastest path to freedom. It's like they're saying, "Bring it on, I'm ready to learn." The dance of two emotional backpacks. When two people are in a relationship, it's not just two individuals interacting. It's two histories, two sets of wounds, two emotional backpacks engaged in an ancient dance. Understanding this dance is crucial for anyone in a high-conflict relationship. What looks like personal conflict is often an impersonal pattern. What feels like deliberate attack is often an unconscious reaction. What seems like betrayal is often the emotional backpack acting on its own agenda. When your partner triggers you, their emotional backpack is speaking to yours. It's saying, "Come out and play. Feed with me. Let us create drama together." And if you are not conscious, you will comply. Your emotional backpack will emerge, take over your faculties, and engage in the fight. This is why arguments between partners can escalate so quickly and become so destructive. Two emotional backpacks, once activated, are not interested in resolution. They are interested in continuation. They want the conflict to go on, because conflict is their food. Breaking this pattern requires one partner, at least one, to remain present, to recognize when the emotional backpack is activating, to choose consciousness over automatic reaction. This is incredibly difficult in the heat of the moment. Every instinct will be screaming for you to react, to defend, to attack back. But if you can hold presence, even for a moment, you create space. You break the cycle. Your partner's emotional backpack, no longer receiving the reaction it needs, may begin to subside. Not always, not immediately, but over time. Consistent presence can transform the entire dynamic. This is what Tolle means when he says the relationship becomes your spiritual practice. The high-conflict partner is not preventing your awakening. They are providing the perfect conditions for it. Navigating high-conflict relationships consciously. Knowing why you choose high-conflict relationships is valuable, but what do you actually do once you're in one? How do you navigate the challenges while growing from them? The first step is always presence. Before you react to your partner, pause, take a breath. Notice what is happening in your body. Is the emotional backpack activating? Are you about to speak from a place of old wound, rather than present wisdom? The pause creates space for choice. The second step is curiosity. Instead of assuming you know what your partner means, what they want, why they did what they did, become curious. Ask questions. Seek to understand before seeking to be understood. Most conflicts arise from misunderstanding, and most misunderstandings arise from assumption. It's like becoming a detective in your own relationship. The third step is ownership. Whatever your partner has done, you are responsible for your reaction. You cannot control them. You can only control yourself. Taking ownership of your emotional state, your triggers, your patterns, is the only path to actual power in a relationship. It's about saying, "Okay, what's my part in this?" The fourth step is communication without attack. You can express what you feel without making your partner wrong. You can state your needs without demanding compliance. You can share your experience without blaming them for it. This requires skill, and it requires practice. But it transforms the entire quality of conflict. Think of it as learning a new language of love. The fifth step is acceptance. Not acceptance of mistreatment. Not acceptance that things cannot improve, but acceptance of your partner as they are right now in this moment. Tolle says that the greatest catalyst for change in a relationship is complete acceptance of your partner without needing to judge or change them. This acceptance takes you beyond ego, when you must walk away. Everything I have said about growth through high-conflict relationships assumes a fundamental condition, that both people are essentially good-hearted and capable of consciousness. This is not always the case. There are relationships that are not difficult in a growth-producing way. They are difficult in a destructive way. Relationships marked by abuse and manipulation, cruelty, or complete unwillingness to take any responsibility. These relationships do not offer opportunity for growth. They offer opportunity for damage. Knowing the difference requires discernment. A high-conflict partner who sometimes triggers you but is fundamentally loving and willing to grow is very different from a partner who consistently harms you and has no interest in changing. The experienced soul can struggle with this distinction because they see potential in everyone. They may stay in harmful situations, hoping for transformation that will never come. It's like trying to grow flowers in toxic soil. Sometimes you have to accept that the soil is simply too contaminated, because compassionate caregivers are natural healers. They may sacrifice themselves trying to fix someone who does not want to be fixed. It's like trying to fill a bottomless well. No matter how much you pour in, it will never be enough. Walking away from a high-conflict relationship is not failure. It is wisdom. It's recognizing that some lessons are learned, not through staying and struggling, but through valuing yourself enough to leave. Think of it as finally removing a splinter that's been festering for far too long. If you are in a relationship that is genuinely harmful, no spiritual teaching requires you to remain. Your growth does not depend on suffering abuse. Your evolution does not require you to be a martyr. Sometimes, the most conscious choice, the bravest act of self-love, is to protect yourself by ending what needs to end. It's like knowing when to fold a losing hand in poker, protecting your chips for a better game. The gift of understanding. Now that you understand why experienced souls choose high-conflict relationships, what changes? Perhaps nothing external changes immediately. You may still be in the same relationship. You may still face the same challenges. But something internal has shifted. You now see the pattern. You understand its origin. You know that it is not random, not punishment, not proof of your brokenness. It's like finally understanding the rules of a game you've been playing blindly. This understanding is the first step toward freedom. You cannot change what you cannot see. You cannot heal what you do not acknowledge. By recognizing the pattern, by understanding its roots in the emotional backpack, the imago, the soul contracts, you have brought light to what was operating in darkness. It's like turning on a light in a room that was previously shrouded in shadows, revealing everything that was hidden. From this understanding, new choices become possible. You can recognize when your emotional backpack is seeking activation and choose not to engage. You can notice when you are attracted to someone's wound rather than their wholeness and pause before diving in. You can approach your current relationship as a classroom rather than a prison. It's about shifting your perspective from victim to student. High-conflict relationships do not have to end. Many of them can transform. When even one partner becomes conscious, the entire dynamic shifts. The emotional backpack finds less to feed on. The conflicts become less frequent, less intense. What was unconscious becomes conscious and loses its power, like diffusing a bomb before it explodes. This is the ultimate purpose of understanding why you choose what you choose. Not to judge yourself, not to feel hopeless about your patterns, but to bring awareness to what has been automatic, to shine light into the places that have been dark, to finally have a choice where before there was only compulsion, to reclaim your power. A new relationship with relationships. Imagine approaching relationships from this new understanding. Imagine knowing that difficult connections are not curses but curriculums. Imagine seeing your partner not as the source of your pain, but as the revealer of pain that was already there. Imagine using every trigger as an opportunity for presence rather than reaction. Think of it as using a mirror to see what needs healing within yourself. This is what becomes possible for the experienced soul who understands their pattern, not a life without relational challenge, because challenge is part of growth, but a life where challenge is met with consciousness, where difficulty becomes doorway, where pain becomes portal, where you become the master of your own destiny. The relationships do not have to be easy to be good. They do not have to be comfortable to be transformative. They do not have to be peaceful to be profound. What matters is not the absence of difficulty, but the presence of awareness within the difficulty. It's not about avoiding the storm. It's about learning to dance in the rain. Experienced souls came here for this. They came to grow through relationship. They came to heal ancient wounds through present connections. They came to become more conscious by engaging with the unconscious in themselves and others. They came to evolve. Your high-conflict relationships are not mistakes. They are exactly what your soul ordered. The question is not how to avoid them. The question is how to meet them with presence, learn from them with humility, and grow through them with grace. It's about embracing the journey, the messiness, and the beauty of it all. Thank you for walking this path of understanding with me today. If these teachings have illuminated something about your own patterns, please share this message with other experienced souls who might need to hear it. Subscribe to continue receiving these insights into consciousness, relationships, and the journey of awakening. Let's build a community of conscious souls, supporting each other every step of the way. And remember, the next time you find yourself in a high-conflict relationship, before you ask why this is happening to you, pause, breathe, and ask instead, what is this teaching me? What am I ready to learn? What part of me is finally ready to heal? What hidden strength am I about to discover? The difficulty is not the obstacle, it is the way. Your experienced soul knows this, and now your conscious mind knows it too. The path to enlightenment is paved with challenges. May your relationships, all of them, become doorways to greater love, deeper consciousness, and the profound peace that comes from finally understanding why you chose what you chose. May you find the strength to create the life you were always meant to live,